majority of exam takers have been taking it online. If you are nervous about taking it online, I will tell you that I once was nervous as well. Prior to COVID, I was 100% in the on-site testing center camp. And during COVID, that was not an option. So I took one online. It was not as scary as I thought. It was a pretty smooth process for as much as I worried about it. So online is a great option. I always like to give that story in case you're concerned. Your time to take the exam, 1 hour and 45 minutes, but you get to decide where you spend your time. So some questions will be relatively quick for you to answer, but those scenario-based questions, those will take more time. Those questions I tend to read through at least twice, sometimes more than that, to make sure that I'm understanding the question fully and make sure I'm not missing any critical details. What I will tell you is on the exam, there's an option to flag questions for review. And I highly recommend utilizing this, really for any question that I don't feel confident about. If either I'm on the fence or feel like I have no idea, I will flag it for review and I will move on. Because if there are a number of questions that I can answer confidently, then I feel better about the exam in general, and I can go back, feel a little bit more calm about it, and revisit those questions. So flag them for review. When you get to the end, it has a list of all of the questions you flagged, and you can revisit them and change your answer if you want to. Often I don't change my answer, but you do have that option. 65% is passing. Again, 39 of the 60 scored questions is what you have to get correct. Available in English and Japanese. $200 is the normal fee. About to give you that coupon code to give you $70 off. And then really important, it's a closed book exam. No notes, can't reference anything online, only the information in your brain. Okay, that is not what I meant to click, and I do that every time. Let me take you out to Trailhead, show you a few additional resources, and then we'll see that code. So closing out my org here, opening up Trailhead. Any of you can do this. You can follow along or you can revisit it later. On Trailhead, under the Credentials tab, you will find certifications. So under Credentials, you will find certifications. It defaults to the Salesforce Administrator role, and then you can click on Administrator. So this is the main page that I would go to as you're doing the rest of your studying, the rest of your prep for the exam. Hopefully many of you have found this page already. We'll come back to this exam guide in a moment. Here's that trail mix. So here's that option for additional learning, option to get hands-on with these topics. And one of my favorite resources for the admin exam is this tool here. Study for the admin certification exam. So this is a trail. Because the admin exam is often a first exam for many people, we have a little bit more in the way of resources, which I think is super helpful. On this one, study for the admin exam, you can even find multiple choice questions to quiz yourself. You can find flashcards. So really helpful resource as you're prepping. If you scroll down on this page, we have some additional classes and workshops. So these are some of the classes that I teach. If today was more of an intro to new concepts and you feel like you need to dig deeper into these, you might consider our full week course. We call it ADX 201. It's Admin Essentials, and you dig deeper into this, learn more about it, and really get hands-on. Then if you scroll down, there's this orange Schedule Now button, and this takes you out to Web Assessor. So that's what we saw in this slide here. You can go to webassessor.com/Salesforce, or if you click this orange Schedule Now button, it takes you out there directly. You'll need to create an account if you haven't done so already. But again, once you get that coupon code is when you can go ahead and register. And I would plan ahead because I don't know what the online time slots are looking like right now. A couple more things on Trailhead. If I scroll back up on this page, I'm going to click on Get the Exam Guide. And if I scroll down here about the exam, that's all the information that we just discussed. So you can always refer back to it. And then what I want you to make note of is this exam outline. And this is what I do as I prepare for any exam, any Salesforce exam I'm going to take. I find the exam outline and I expand every section. Because if it is listed here, if a term is listed here, it is fair game for an exam question. So this is your list of things you need to be familiar with for the exam. And I would use this as a checklist. So we've talked about a lot of these. User setup. Do I have a good idea of licenses, of resolving locked users? We talked a little bit about it. Maybe you refresh yourself on it. What happens if I deactivate? What happens if I freeze a user? But maybe I find a topic that I don't feel very comfortable with. Maybe I'm not quite clear on the IP restrictions. If that is the case, the first thing I will do is go search on Trailhead. And if I'm not finding it there, then I will go to help and training. So that's just help.salesforce.com, and I will look up the topic. I know help and training is not quite as exciting. You don't get the badges, you don't get the confetti, but what you do get is really valuable, a source of truth and answers that will help you with your exam. So help and training is a great place. I often spend a lot of time there in addition to Trailhead when I'm prepping for my own exams. So use that exam outline, use it as a checklist, because again, if it's a topic listed in parentheses, it is fair game for an exam question. Last thing I want to show you on Trailhead. Under the Learn tab, we have Trailhead Live. And again, many of you may have found this already. And we have some preparing for your admin exam sessions. Some of those, I don't know if we have any coming up, but I know we have some on demand. So these are some that my colleague Mari did. If you click View All, we have tons of on-demand content. And because this is kind of an ever-growing library, you might choose to filter by admin role. So there's topics preparing for the admin exam. There are general ones that I know I did with one with my manager that's about general tips and tricks for taking the exam. My colleague Mari did one for taking your exam online. So keep scrolling here. I'm going to see if I can find any of those. Actually, we'll keep moving because we only have a few minutes left. So check that out. You'll find stuff that is specific for preparing for the exam, for taking it online. Tons of content available. Not a bad thing that there's a lot to look through. There it is. Exam certification prep and exam day tips. And then Mari has one, what to expect when taking your Cert prep online. So I did have to scroll a bit, but those are a couple additional resources that you might find helpful. Again, we talked about going out to Web Assessor. We saw where to do that. That's our thank you, but not our official wrap up. Talked about Trailhead Live, so that's taken care of. And the moment you've all been waiting for. Here is your coupon code. Again, this will be emailed to you within 3 to 5 business days after our webinar. I didn't draw that very well. So this is good for a $70 discount on your $200 exam fee. Again, you can apply it on up to 3 exams as long as you both register and sit for your exams by March 31st. And again, plan ahead now that you've got this code if you're hoping to take your exam in the near future. Friends, thanks for bearing with us with our tech issues today. Again, I apologize, and I hope this was still a worthwhile use of your time. Feel free to connect with me. I would love to hear what you thought of the webinar. I would love to hear when you pass your exam and celebrate with you. And again, provide any feedback about the experience, good or bad. Absolutely love to hear it. That's pretty much all I have. So I'll leave this slide up for a few minutes. But if you got what you came for, or if your brain is tired, go enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is where you are. And a big thank you for joining us today and bearing with us. And hopefully I will see you at a future event. Thank you all.